So today I get the opportunity to interview Dr. Tyler Hamel. He's been a nutritionist and chiropractor. I'm here in the Kingwood area for now over 17 years and providing, some alternatives to the traditional medicine. And I've been a client myself, and Dr. Hamel has worked some amazing things just on me in a short period of time. So I'm glad to have him here today to talk about how health is the biggest asset in your business. If you were to look at what is the most important thing, it's your health. It's longevity. It's how long can you be in the business, and that all at some point is going to tie back to health. And so, how are you doing today, Dr. Hamel?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeremy. I appreciate it. I watch your webinars on Facebook, and I think you're doing a great job. And I was watching one the other day, and I just thought, the things you do with business folks and small businesses is, trying to get their business up and going, and maybe some strategies to work on that. It's kind of a similar approach, I think, to how I try to help clients with their health, whether it's on the chiropractic side or nutrition side. So, again, thanks for having me on. I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I talked about you being a client of yours, and I remember there's one time I literally almost had to crawl to your office. And by the time we got done with our appointment, which was 30 minutes or less, I was able to actually run out to my car and then be able to skip when I got home. So it's amazing. Dude, I highly recommend if you ever have anything, we'll talk about that more, to give it a shot. So I want to start out, what got you into the business? I know you're very passionate about this. You've been in it 17 years now. How did you start?
Yeah. So initially I was in so kind of a background. I played professional handball for a long time, and wherever I went for my schooling had to do with that. So I went to school in Missouri for a little while, and there is when I started to get into athletic training courses, and I did biology, chemistry minor, all of that kind of stuff, which with the intention of going into something like this or helping people in a way. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do medicine or PA school or osteopathic school or PT school. I wasn't quite sure, but when I was in Missouri, I kind of narrowed it down to a couple things, and it was chiropractic and physical therapy, and just ended up, luckily, that I got into the chiropractic side of things. And I had not been worked on by a chiropractor before, and I was playing in a handball tournament in Kansas City. And one of the players there was a chiropractor, and he'd work on the participants in this tournament. So I figured, I've heard about it, and what do I have to lose? It's like, it's all natural. It's no medicine, no surgery, anything like that. So that piqued my interest, because I was already interested in natural things I could do as an athlete to improve performance and less injury risk and that kind of thing. So I went and saw him, and I had my first adjustment, and it was pretty powerful. If for first-time clients, whenever you come in, it's it can be kind of it's just a different type of therapy, right? Like it's kind of a reboot to the spine and nervous system, which can really cause some powerful things to happen. So I had that done, and I was kind of, in a way, kind of hooked and just very impressed. I went back to school, and I just started looking a little bit more into what I needed to do to get into chiropractic school. So that's how it all started. And, I went back to Portland, Oregon to go to chiropractic school. Then I graduated, came to Houston, where I worked with a guy who was a handball player, and I continued professional handball. And I've been, I think that's why I'm passionate. I've just been kind of led the chiropractic and nutrition lifestyle. Like everything I recommend to patients, like I'm doing it. They can see I'm doing it. And that's why I'm a true believer in the process of natural healing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's big. I think, to practice what you preach as well, you're doing it, and you're doing it at a pretty high level. Just to let you know, we've got Kathy Gunnerman's watching. We've got John Estevez. He's represents a builder. Sean Stout, Tom O'Neill. So we're starting to have an audience come on here.
All right. Awesome.
One of the things that we talked about, and the reason we got together was you'd mentioned, health being our biggest asset in our business. And a lot of times we don't even take that into consideration.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about your passion. I know you have all walks of life that come in.
Mhm.
What is it about health, and how does that relate, do you believe, to business?
So I think it's one of those things that people know of. Obviously, they hear of or chiropractic or nutrition. They know they're supposed to do certain things, but I don't think they always realize how important health is. And that's the thing. Like if you don't have your health, when you look at like how well can you say do your business or your profession or your hobbies or be a good parent or a good spouse, like it basically comes back and plays into everything. And I think I've over the last 17 years of doing this, I just see that sometimes how that presents in my office where people come in and maybe they've been successful even in business, but their health is really struggle, and it's just not something that they've worked on. Kind of like they're very successful in their business and they've done everything they need to along the way to be successful there, but they've kind of neglected their health. And you can just see how that plays a part in their life now. Maybe they're ready to retire, but they're not functional, or they have different health issues where they need to do medicines or they need to do surgeries and things like that. And then you can see the quality of their life just isn't where they're expecting it to be. And that's a big thing that I notice when you look at your important assets when it comes to business and family and whatnot. Health just it doesn't seem to be that high up on the priority level, and when it isn't, it just affects everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm probably one of the victims of that, right? Or not a victim. I've allowed it to happen. And here's the thing: is that sometimes we put so much focus and energy into building a business, we forget to take care of ourselves. My wife
Yes.
and I were talking about this the other day, and about travel. We love to travel, and we've got this bucket list of places we want to go to. And the challenge is by the time you have a lot of that income built up to be able to go and do that, if you don't have your health, you're not able to realize a lot of those. So I think even
Yeah.
looking at the longevity and those plans and goals that you have out in the future, not just today, those that are down the road, and health plays a large part in it.
And I think when somebody comes in, it's good to look at it that way too. And probably they never have looked at that. If somebody's coming in with neck pain or back pain or sciatica, headaches, things like that, it's they're really coming in because they're struggling or suffering at that time. And what I always say, like just imagine if you didn't have to deal with those headaches or back pain or neck pain, like kind of the bigger picture things. Like what could you now do that you can't do now, right? And some people they can't exercise because they're the back pain. They have to miss days from work because they have headaches often, things like that. They get home and they can't play with their kids. They don't go on vacation. They're always stressed out. All that stuff is playing into it. And these days I've never seen so many patients come in, I think, that are like really overworked and overstressed, and they come in headaches and neck pain, like postural problems, and they're working like 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and I see that especially in the last couple of years where people are just working like ridiculous hours and sometimes on a computer all day. And that's a big difference I noticed with that. And they're putting a lot of time and effort into their business or their work, which is understandable. But if they're not looking after their health at the same time, it's hard. It's really hard to keep that up.
Yeah, it's going to catch up to them at some point. Talk a little bit about stress is a topic. There's good stress and there's bad stress. I coach a lot of people in the industry that's around real estate. So a lot of my coaching clients are real estate agents.
Yeah.
And it could be a very, very high stress job. What does stress do to the lymphatic system, to the spinal, the things that happen with the spine? Tell
Good
me
question.
about that.
Good question. So think of it too as you say your body's able to adapt to a certain amount of stress. And when we talk about stress, it can be a variety of different things, right? It could be work, it could be relationship, it could be chemical stress or the things we're eating with food. So I know a lot of people think about stress. It's like, oh, my job, it's so busy or different things like that. But it's really a number of different ways stress can affect the body. And think about it as it can adapt for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden it isn't able to. So when meaning it isn't able to, you have a breakdown in, say, adrenal glands, or that's probably the most common thing. That's your stress gland, and your body can handle a lot of stress for many, many years, and then it gets to the point where it can't. And the way that it lets you know that is because your adrenal glands are stressed. So you look at things like chronic fatigue or problems sleeping, putting on weight, inflammation, digestive issues, things like that, that are your body trying to tell you, like, hey, I'm stressed out and I need to do something to help with that. So stress is, as far as you look at organ gland health, it really just the wear and tear, especially adrenal glands and thyroid glands. You look at digestive system, and then on the postural side of it, extra stress. And you talk about, like, say, even realtors, and they're on a computer a lot, or they're driving a lot of people who have desk jobs, it's like constant postural stress. So the spine and the nerves can handle that again for a certain amount of time, but then it gets to the point where they can't. So when you have a breakdown in that, then you start to have the neck pains and the back pains and the headaches and things like that. So it's really important for people to realize symptoms. You know, it's a sign that your body is struggling with something, and there's no normal headaches or neck pain or back pain or anxiety or chronic fatigue. Like, all that stuff isn't normal. But I think these days sometimes people are so go that they're dealing with that stuff on a daily basis, and they kind of think of it as normal.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I was struggling with some of that when I initially came and saw you, and it becomes the norm, and you don't realize it until you kind of get out from that umbrella, and then you're like, oh, that feels a lot better. And, it's just making a small change.
It's just being able to, I think people get stuck in that as well, you know, and I think this does a kind of a parallel to, say, business coaching, when you're coaching somebody along and they're at a point where they're just stuck and they think they're doing all the right things, but maybe they're not, and maybe they're seeing some kind of symptoms as a result of that, right? But that's why it's important to see, to get feedback or see somebody to get help. And when you're an individual trying to evaluate or analyze yourself, whether it be, say, your business or your health, it's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, I did a session about 3 weeks ago is on blind spots.
Yeah,
and that's why people hire coaches, or should hire a coach, or should hire a chiropractor or nutritionist, is
yes,
you have blind spots, and we don't see them, and we have to have that other individual say, hey, Dr. Hamel, look, you've got a spot right here. You don't see it. I see it. It's clear as day. Yeah, the same thing happens, I'm sure, in your business, as far as when the customers and the clients come in, is that they're not even aware that that's going on. And you're like, hey, I can see I've got the 30,000 foot view, and this is what I see, and we've got to change this, or you're going to continue to have problems. Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing, to be able to, to let a patient coming in know that, it's okay that it's going on, but it's not a normal thing. Right. So when they talk about pains and headaches and they can't sleep or digestive issues, like that's really, really common things that people are coming in with, but it's not a normal thing. And I think sometimes people just need to hear that, say from me, instead of their spouse or their parent. It just seems like they need to hear that from the right person. And oftentimes people will come in here and they've already tried a whole bunch of different things, and maybe similar for on the coaching side of it as well for you, where people have tried so many different things to build their business, improve their business, what they need to work on, but it just isn't working. And so I see a lot of that when they come in. It's, I've tried this. It's like, finally, like, it's no matter what I'm doing, it's not getting any better. So please help, which, I like helping those people. And, but if people looked at that maybe a little bit earlier, same, and you're trying to grow your business, if you do all these things and you're not doing them properly, you make all these mistakes, and you do that for 5 years, like, it'd be nice to, if you talk to somebody 5 years ago and you can get on the right track. And the same thing goes with their health. They can do more on the preventative side, instead of having a real big issue and then, like, reacting to the problem instead of being proactive on the problem.
Yeah. I always talk with my coaching clients about incremental growth, and incremental growth can be a good thing. It's that slow build up over time. And as you build and build and build, the opportunities get bigger and bigger. It can be bad, though, on the health side.
Yeah.
You gain you gain a pound or two here, then you gain a pound or two here, and you get, 5-6 years down the road, and you look back and you're like, okay, what in the hell happened? I don't know what happened, but something happened, and it was that incremental change overnight.
Yes. And I think that the same thing, like when you talk about incremental changes, can happen on the positive side. And I think it's an important thing for people to realize and kind of have that mindset of a long-term investment in their health. And there isn't a quick fix. And just to kind of go in with that kind of mindset. Because, I mean, let's face it, we see ads all the time on TV, and we pull up on our computers and our browser, and there's ads for this kind of symptom and that kind of symptom. And it's like, it grabs our attention for quick fix. So we kind of have, a lot of people have that mentality when they come in, like, how can you fix me, doc? Or what can you do for migraine headaches? Well, how long have you had them? For 10 years. Well, I think when they ask, like, well, what can you do for, they're hoping something miraculous in a week or something. And health just doesn't work that way. And I think that's, and initially, potentially for your clients too, but when somebody comes in, the sooner they realize that it's more of a long-term commitment, and that, their health hasn't gotten that way overnight, it might take 10, 15, 20 years, then their health isn't going to change that quickly. You can certainly see some positive changes within a week or even a couple of weeks, but you got to look at it more of a long-term commitment. I think the people who do that, they end up doing the best and seeing the best results. The quick fixers, it's probably the same in your kind of business. Like, that kind of mindset, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, or it disguises itself sometimes. It seems like things are happening quick and things are great, and they don't really build the habit. And I'm a big guy on habits, and this plays probably the same in your business. Is you can't expect to go 1 or 2 times or 3 times and get it. If it's never been a habit in your life, you're going to need somebody with you for a period of time. The average time developing a habit, your research says, is 66 days.
Yeah.
You see a lot of these nutritional plans out there, the 21-day fix or the 28-day, and it's not long enough to build a habit. So what happens is, it works. It disguises itself as, the quick fix. And then you have a great habit and you leave it. And next thing you know, you're back to where you were, if not then some.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And I think there's, obviously in my profession too, like, as best I can, I need to try to create a change in somebody's health, like, fairly quickly. Like, not to say they're completely fixed or corrected, but the sooner I can do that, then the greater chance they're on board, right? So somebody's not going to come in and say, well, you got to spend 6 months with me and then you should start seeing improvement. Like, it happens way before that. So, and I know, especially diets are probably the toughest thing, but there's definitely diets where we do detox plans and 10-day, 21-day, but that's just a part of it. That's kind of like to get the body primed so that for the next 2 months, we're going to do this. And then after that, for the next 3 months, we'll do this. And you kind of break it up into different phases. And when somebody comes in, I always say, well, we're at phase 1 here. So 2 to 3 months, phase 2, 3 to 6 months, phase 3, 6 months to a year, and then phase 4 kind of beyond that. So I have clients that have been coming in for 5 years that are in phase 4, and maybe they come in every month and a half, something like that. Maintenance. By that time, they know what they're doing. They're eating better. They're exercising, like all that kind of stuff. So they just need to see me every once in a while. But it's taken them quite some time to get there. And like I said, those people who they take a long-term view of it, a long-term approach, then those are the ones who by far do the best.
Yeah, we have to stop living our life like we're, everything is a McDonald's, where you go up and you order from the drive-through, and 30 seconds later you have a hamburger and some fries thrown at you. And we just got to get to where we got to be comfortable with the long-term game, and whether that's in business or in your health, there's and every time I've started with something with health, there's always been that quick change. Yet after that, it slows down, and it's to that that 1 or 2 pounds a week type of deal, and you just have to be okay. You got to get comfortable with it. It's okay to be the turtle. And
Yeah.
the results, I think, on the other end, once you get your mindset to that place, are so much better than that quick fix, because it's not going to last long.
Yeah, and there's an emotional component of it, and I mean, I'm sure you see that too. With people coming in, if they're in pain or they've been dealing with something for a long time, it has a bit of an emotional grip, I guess, on them, right? So there's dealing with the physical side of things, say with chiropractic and the nutrition side, taking supplements, diet, but there's that emotional thing that's very powerful too, right? When they start doing something, and you look at, say, for chiropractic and nutrition, maybe 10% of the population looks into that kind of stuff, right? So there's a big need for it, but the amount of people who actually do it, it's 10% or less of the population. Yeah. So it's a big emotional hurdle to get over too. Like, oh, I'm going to go see a chiropractor nutritionist. What are my friends going to think? What is my family going to think? Will I be able to do this? Is it going to be overwhelming? Like there's a lot of that emotional stuff that is always part of it, right? And it's like you say, you're doing something new, you're trying to form a new habit, then your body's going to have to deal with some things, and some good and some bad. It'll be some challenging things, but you just have to stay the course and go through the process. And it works. Like I always tell patients, like if you go through it, it works for everybody. If you follow this plan, it works for everybody. Whether it's going to be, kind of up and away and everything is perfect from day one, like probably not. But when you do things, say like chiropractic, and start realigning the spine and taking pressure off the nerves, or you change your diet, you take supplements, it takes a little bit of time for your body to get used to that. But when your body's changing, it's going to show you some different signs with, say, chiropractic or nutrition, and that it's a good thing, right? Like if we just feel the same exact way from week after week after week with chiropractic or nutrition, that means that it isn't working, right? So I think it's important for people to understand, or to expect to go through some of those dips or the valleys or the challenges, and it's just a part of being human, and it's a part of the human body experiencing and moving through that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Just give you an update. We've got Daniel Seymour's watching. He's a JLA agent up in Cleveland. Beth Burton, one of our neighbors right here in Green Tree Village. Lynn Hoban-Montez, a realtor up in Shepherd, Texas. We got Cassie Locke. I believe Cassie's a client of yours, and Jeff Soar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So glad to see him on today. So I a lot of people will look at it as, well, I'll just go exercise. I'm just going to go start this exercise plan. And I know that you believe it. I want you to expand on it a little bit. The fact of how important is the nutrition side? Yeah.
So I'd say, first of all, the exercise side of it too, that's something that's going to help everybody, but you have to know the certain types of exercises to do, right? To maximize the results. And I think a lot of people, they just go in the gym and they do their same old routine. And I see these kind of folks too occasionally. They're like, well, I work out, an hour and a half or 2 hours at the gym every day. And it's like, but I'm having trouble with my energy, or I can't lose the weight anymore, or things like that. Right. And that's working out an hour and a half or 2 hours a day. So there's different things to look at, and as we get older, to modify the workouts. I'm a fan of the high intensity, low impact. However you do that, and there's classes or there's things you can do on your own. And those exercises for sure have shown the most, as far as the studies go, most improvement. Reset hormones, metabolism, all that kind of stuff so it's important that people know the proper exercise, and it's not just hey, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go run. It's like, again, to have a plan on what are you trying to accomplish, and what's the best way to go about that. And on the nutrition side, you look at, if you're getting the right kind of nutrition, you're eating the right things, taking the right supplements, and it's going to give your body the fuel or the energy it needs to do that kind of stuff. So a lot of small business owners, especially, like, you're working hard, long hours, you're trying to work out every day. You have family you're taking care of. It's like a really, really, really busy day. So think of it as like you want to have the premium fuel in your body to be able to do all that stuff as well as you can, right? Business, exercise, family. And that's the difference, right? If you have the right nutrition, if you're getting the right foods in your body, it gives you the right amount of fuel to do that. If you're go and trying to wing it and the quick fix and the McDonald's or the Burger King, then it's junk food, it's processed food. So you're not getting any of the fuel that you would from real food. And I hear from people, and I know it's tougher. You got to go grocery shopping, you got to prepare meals, different things like that. But the difference between real food and the kind of fuel you get from that as compared to junk food or processed food, there's no difference. It's like premium jet fuel to using like vegetable oil or something. Like there's just there's no comparison, and you just can't keep up that high energy kind of lifestyle and be focused and present, say in business, exercise, family, if you're not getting the right fuel in your body. There's no way you can do it. And you'll start to see signs of that after a while. It's like you're asking your body to do a lot, but you're not giving it the fuel. So then you're going to start to have those kind of symptoms like the weight gain, the chronic fatigue, you can't sleep, digestive issues, and things like that.
Great. I have a couple more questions for you, Dr. Hamel, and then we'll talk to people about how to connect with you.
Okay.
When I say health equals wealth, how do you think that applies to business? If somebody's running a business, they own their own business, or maybe they're just in the corporate world, how does health equal wealth?
So yeah, coming back to the the healthier you are, the better able you can do things. Say run your own business, the better able you can say adapt to stress or take on new things, different things like that. If you're worn out, if you're tired, if you're just eating junk food all the time, it's just not gonna work, right? So the healthier we are for our business, the more opportunity we can do extra things to build our business, the better able we can get out there and connect or network, the better able we're able to make more money or generate more of an income, right? Because we have the energy to do it. And it goes hand in hand, right? Like if you're unhealthy, you're not able to run your business. If you have headaches every day or digestive issues, you can't effectively run a business. So you can't effectively grow the business. You can't achieve your goals, whatever that might be, as a certain income level, or if you want to spend time with family or do vacations or that kind of stuff, right? You need to be healthy in order to do all that stuff.
Absolutely. What makes you get up in the morning and say, I'm going to go into the office? What is it that drives you every day when you walk into the office?
So I think it's whenever I wake up in the morning, I've just always been one of those people. I'm energized and ready to go. And I think to be able to bring that energy and that connection with patients coming in, I think that's one thing that really drives me to do what I do. And then just knowing that there's a big void out there as far as people say knowing what to do with their health or getting what they need to improve their health, whether it be chiropractic and nutrition. Like I said, less than 10% of the population is coming in to see chiropractors or nutritionists to get help with that. So there is a huge need. Like you just think about how many people are unhappy because they're in pain or they have headaches or no energy or they can't lose weight, right? There's millions of people in Houston probably that are dealing with that. So just knowing that, I think, when I come in to try to educate somebody or motivate them to improve their health and maybe that of their family and friends to slowly spread that out, to maybe eventually be able to see more than 10% of my community, 11%, 12%, like even just 1 more percent would make a huge difference in hundreds of people's lives and their health.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine it's gotta be gratifying, just like as a coach, when I see my clients go out and accomplish these things, just to know as a small part of that it it makes me get up every morning wanting to coach more and help more people. And I'm sure that you feel the same way too.
Yeah, and it's something where, and I'm very similar with you too. And I think like I can't exactly just motivate my clients or my patients, but I can create an environment that is motivating. So they come in and so I can, in a way, the way I talk to them, the way I educate them. And yeah, absolutely. Like when you see changes, especially with somebody who's been suffering with something for a long period of time, and maybe they've tried everything, maybe they've taken medicine, and within a couple of weeks of just doing some natural things, they're starting to see some changes. Like it's major things, right? If you don't have headaches every day, if you don't have digestive issues, the things that you can now do that you were kind of scared to do before is life changing. And probably for your clients as well, there's sometimes there's some there's kind of some give and take or some pushback with, I'm sure, with your clients and with mine too. And again, it's just kind of the process. And if you can just help them hang in there, to see the little changes or the little positives, then they can keep going and going. And just reminding them of every time, like growing your business or improving your health, it's look at it as a long-term process.
Yeah. And I love the idea of getting us together and talking about it today, because I look at you as a coach, not a chiropractor or nutritionist. You're right there alongside, and like you said, to motivate them is temporary. We've got to get them to look internally and find that motivation as well.
Yes.
And I see you doing that all the time, and I know you've done that with me, and for that I'm greatly appreciative. How do people connect with you? Let's say somebody, what would be your perfect client today?
So my perfect client is, so I'll just tell you what most people are coming in with today, or this is what I see, is say chronic fatigue, digestive issues, weight issues, and then certain aches and pains, which could be the headaches, neck pain, back pain, or sciatica. So I'd say kind of those 7 or 8 symptoms is what's bringing people in. So that's always a great client. Somebody who's more open-minded to the natural or alternative medicine is really good, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And it's part of my job in a way. If somebody comes in and they're kind of skeptical, is for me to educate them on that process. Here's how medicine works. Here's how nutrition and natural things work. And even if they don't decide to do something with me, say based on that, at least they now know of that's out there, right? So I look at people with whatever, if aches and pains or digestive issues, thyroid issues, and they just don't know that there's a more natural route to go. They've never been told, they've never been exposed to it. So yeah, I look at that as my job too. It's like, anybody can come in and at least learn something, that they probably had no idea before. Oh, I didn't know there was natural things I could do for headaches. I've been taking medicine for 10 years and I've always thought maybe there's something, and right. And so it's just trying to, connect with people like that. And even some of the most skeptical patients, and maybe with you too, the most skeptical clients, they turn out to be the very best. And they do the best results wise, and they spread the word like nobody's business. And, but yeah, so that's, as far as patients coming in, those are the main symptoms they're coming in with. And yes, and we're chiropractic and nutrition. Some of it can be covered by insurance, and some of it isn't, but we have pretty affordable cash plans too. We try not to make that a barrier to somebody getting better.
So how do they make an appointment with you? Do they call the office? I know you got a couple locations.
Yeah, so the best way is call the office. It's 281-360-8387. So I'm in Kingwood 3.5 days a week. And then I also practice in Spring out of another office there, just a day and a half a week. So all day Tuesday, half a day Wednesday, which is in the mornings, is in Spring. And then the rest of the time I'm in Kingwood. So most people obviously in this area come into the Kingwood office, and some will travel out to Spring, but this is obviously more convenient for them to come to this office here.
Yeah, and your location in Kingwood is right across from Kingwood Middle. Where's your location in the Spring area?
Yeah. So in the Spring area, we're very close to 45 in Rayford. So it's actually in a place called the Woodlands Institute for Health and Wellness. It's a functional medicine office. There's a kind of a functional medicine, more alternative medicine type of MD that's there, and a couple PAs and medical assistants and a nutritionist as well. So that's the easiest way to look up there. Woodlands Institute for Health and Wellness. Here in Kingwood, we are in it's the same little shopping center as Domino's Pizza. It's on Woodland Hills in between North Park and Kingwood Drive. So I think Domino's Pizza has been here forever. So most people kind of know that landmark. And
well, they could go eat Domino's and then come take care of the issues.
I know. A patient was asking the other day, are you ever tempted to go over there and get something? Because yeah, quick and easy, and it always smells good, right? Like fast food always smells good. I think that's what kind of sucks people in sometimes is, you you get used to that smell and the cost, and it just brings you right in.
Well, Dr. Hamel, thank you again for taking the time out today. And we had several people that jumped on, and I know there'll be several others that watched the video and get some of this information today. I appreciate you taking the time, and look forward to seeing how we can continue to impact lives together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and you're doing a great job. And I continue to read all your emails and follow your posts. So keep up the good work. I'm sure all those small business people and realtors are appreciating what you're doing.
All right. Well, you have a great day, and appreciate you again.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.